Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ryan from El Topo Loco giving you guys a deck profile. Here we have my buddy Jimmy Rauseo, and he did very, very well in the last regional online right before nationals with a leader that I'm pretty sure that has never topped before, Videl. How you doing, Jimmy?
Hey Brian, how's it going, buddy?
All's well. So, tell us about the event.
So it went pretty well. There were seven matches. Went 4-1 starting off,
Mm-hmm.
and then I won the last one to go into the last round to try and get top four.
Mm-hmm.
Lost in the last matchup,
Mm-hmm.
but it went really, really well. Felt good about my deck.
Good. And what place did you get overall?
11th overall.
Okay. And how many people were in the event?
I think there was about 160 to
Oh, wow.
170 total people.
Okay, so this was a pretty big one, and I'm pretty sure this was the last event you could qualify for nationals. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. I think Magna Carta was going to do an in-person event,
Mm-hmm.
but due to COVID, they had to do an online,
Mm-hmm.
which probably made it much bigger.
Nice. All right, so Videl again hasn't been putting much reps in, and you might be the first one to ever top with this. So why don't you tell us what the leader does?
Sure. So front side, she's an Earthling, so she's 5K. When she attacks, she draws a card.
Mm-hmm.
When one of your skill list battle cards is used in a combo, you draw a card, and you can add up to one card from your life to your hand. So most of the time, you're going to be self-awakening yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so the 5K doesn't matter as much
Okay.
because you'll see later as we look at the unison,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to pull your skill list really easy.
Okay.
And then she also has a Spirit Boost. So Spirit Boost 1, basically when your opponent attacks and you combo with a skill list from your hand,
Mm-hmm.
you can neg your unison by 1 to play the skill list battle card after.
Okay. So it's kind of a little bit like the old Earthlings, like Hercule and Bulma, where we have a weak leader, but it does have some good draw benefits, and same with launch as well. And then it also kind of reminds me of Reboot Hit a little bit, where you're also free playing these vanilla guys. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, yeah, I would say that's very close. She draws a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and if you play it the correct way, she can rival blue with hand size. So there's
Yeah,
been games where I'll play against a blue player and we'll be pretty close in hand all throughout the game.
nice. And we know the big boogeyman right now is Cell Surge, which is hand control. Yours is a different take on hand control, which I really like, and we'll get into it in just a little bit. But one thing I like about your profile is Cell Surge kind of is just a sit back and do nothing deck the whole time. Where and then eventually they're gaining advantage by discarding the hand. You're doing the same thing, but at the same time you're being pretty aggressive. Does that sound about right for you, or what?
Yeah, so I feel like this leader makes it multifaceted where you can be aggressive when you need to
Mm-hmm.
and you can also play hand control when you need to. So gives you some flexibility.
Nice. All right, let's get into the profile.
Awesome. So the biggest and most important card to run is the Great Saiyaman.
Mm-hmm.
So he works really, really well with the leader, both front side and back.
Mm-hmm.
So how you combo with the skill list. So his auto once per turn, you remove a marker from a card using Spirit Boost. You can choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 2 or less and KO it.
Mm-hmm.
This came in clutch in a lot of matchups where Gohan was played or some of the weenies from like Xeno Gogeta or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, where I could Spirit Boost and just kill their 1 drop or 2 drop or less.
Yeah.
And then his Activate main allows you to add 1 green skillless battle card with an energy cost of 1 from your deck to your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then another good thing is on his auto, so when he's being attacked, since he's only a 6K, to
Mm-hmm.
defend him, you're allowed to combo with a skillless from your hand,
Okay.
make him 11K. So that way your opponent has to use resources
Mm-hmm.
to kill him,
Yeah, so
essentially.
he's kind of like the Unison, like the Frieza for U7, or even the Vados Unison, where you're technically still not getting a defense step, but you're adding a combo card from an auto effect to kind of make it a little bit tougher to kill.
Exactly. And on the front side, so let's say they decide not to combo up to 11K,
Mm-hmm.
I can use my Spirit Boost ability to basically play that 1 drop. So that way I have advantage on my next turn going into my next turn.
Nice.
Yep. And then so I run one more unison. So Obviously, Dark Broly, Overwhelming Evil.
Mm-hmm.
We all know how good he is. He is expensive, so with the Zamasu errata, it's going to be easier to play him and get him out.
Mm-hmm.
But you choose one card from your hand, discard it. If you do, your opponent chooses one card from their hand, discards it. And then in addition to that, they have to KO one of their battle cards.
Yeah. So
So he's just instant value. So
yeah, he puts in a lot of work, especially in Cell Surge. But you did bring up a good point because the format you were playing in, Zamasu was not hit by the errata, so it's kind of nice to be able to have a one-cost unison play before Zamasu is even active with the Gohan. And then if you want to wait till turn 5 to play the Broly unison, you can. But the next format with the new errata, maybe are you thinking about like bringing Dark Broly up in number, or do you think he's fine at 2 right now?
he would probably go to 3 at least.
Mm-hmm.
I brought him down to 2, just knowing that Zamasu was going to be in the event,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I had other options, 3-drop options that you'll see in the deck profile that as battle cards gain you some advantage and also have them discard as well. So,
All right, let's start seeing those battle cards then.
all right. So to start off, you have the Videl package, is what I call it. So you got 7 of the 1-drop Videls, 2 different types of skill lists. They're great for Great Saiyaman. He pulls them from the deck. You use them to combo off the leader, and you get to draw a card. And on the backside, you can combo with them, and they get plus 4K. So
Okay.
the backside of the leader, when you combo with it, instead of her being 10,000 power,
Mm-hmm.
she'll be 19,000 power, and you get to draw a card. So it becomes instant advantage,
Mm-hmm.
and your opponent has to combo up when you use the leader effect.
Yeah, so your leader is weak, but essentially it's getting free combo power and even plussing on it, so that's nice.
Another cool combo with that is, let's say you swing with the Unison to try and put on pressure.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 6K, but with comboing the Videl on the Unison
Okay.
and the plus 4K, he becomes an instant 15K, which
Mm-hmm.
they have to defend.
Okay.
And then after that, so we use Great Saiyaman. Bear with me here. So the Great Saiyaman, along with the 2-drop Sun Gohan,
Mm-hmm.
she's instant value for me because for 1 energy, I can pull back the Videl.
Mm-hmm.
And then in addition to that, I can play out the Sun Gohan to put on pressure. On quite a few of my matchups, I was able to do that, and I put on the pressure and applied it pretty quickly. And then you can obviously pull back the Videl from the turn before and then
Mm-hmm.
play the Videl after you combo with it. Great Saiyaman when she's swinging in, or your leader, and it just gives you, aggro advantage.
Now, does the Gohan also trigger the auto draws or any
Yes,
spear
it
boosts?
does. Since he is an Earthling,
Mm-hmm.
he would also trigger the draw. That's why I used him versus some of the other 2-drops that are out there.
That makes sense. And that's a pretty cool combo because of Videl or the Great Saiyaman 2, not only are you getting a 20k swing, but you probably swung with your Videl first. You bounce that back, you get a 15k and a 20k, and then you get a card back to hand, which again is going to trigger off a lot of your effects from comboing it. So it just seems like a nice little loop for just 1 energy.
Exactly. Most of this deck is playing stuff for minimal amount of energy if you can,
Mm-hmm.
to make it as efficient as possible and putting that pressure on your opponent.
And that's what decks got to do nowadays. So that's very good that it's able to do that.
Yep. And then from there, so super combo, it's pretty easy. I use Saiyaman for 2 reasons.
Mm-hmm.
1, because he draws you 2, which is great advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, because I need to sometimes put the Videl back from my hand,
Mm-hmm.
but then I can use my Unison to just pull the Videl back from my deck. So it's
Oh,
almost
cool.
like if I run out of a Videl, I can easily put her back and
Mm-hmm.
then pull her back to hand. So it's almost like a +3.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
And then we run this Sun Gohan Ajin Extermination. What
Mm-hmm.
he does when I play him for 3 energy, he's deflect, dual attack, double strike.
Mm-hmm.
He's a finisher, and if they're not prepared for it and they can't get around deflect, like blue sometimes can't get around deflect, you can easily put him out there. He'll pull a skill list from the drop, put it back in the deck, and then I'll also put a skill list in my hand. And when I combo with them, they become plus 9k, and then if I use the leader effect, it's basically a plus 14k.
So what is that total?
So he'll go to like 34 super easy.
Wow. Okay.
Um, And then in addition to that, hand control pieces. So I run the Rosie at 3. That was super helpful against like
Mm-hmm.
cooler matchup and the other matchups I had because I tapped a 3. I don't have to worry about them because it has deflect,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just discard 2. And sometimes I only played her just to have them discard the 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew that they might, KO it later or whatever that might be, just to get that advantage.
And she gets triple attack. So like if you are trying to just diminish resources, you could play her, know that's going to be safe, especially against blue, and then just like rip the cards, and then you could just swing at unisons and just kill their unisons, and then they just lost cards while you just played a body.
Exactly. Just hand advantage, strictly playing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, sorry, these are a little out of order. I run the Frieza and Zamasu combo. It doesn't always go off, but Frieza's just instant value when you have a green unison, KO their guy. It gets around deflect, which is super nice in green matchups.
Yep.
And then obviously Zamasu for turn 3 for 1 energy. It's another cheap guy that gets a body out there that makes them discard a card every time you swing.
Really hard to get rid of him with indestructible as well.
And then Ribrienne, I run her at 3.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she's a charge fodder.
Okay.
She doesn't always get used. But she at least, when she is in the drop area and they can't remove her, they can easily make them discard cards in the late game.
Okay.
And then I run 2 of the Chile. I probably should have told her up in the skill list. Basically, she's a draw card, and she becomes skillless. So when I combo her off, I can trigger my leader's ability to draw, so it helps me get more hand advantage. I draw a card for playing her, draw a card for swinging, and that helps.
That's pretty neat.
Yep. And then I run the Toa. She's just more hand destruction. She also, since my leader's a 10k when I'm awakened, if I just want instant value to get my leader up to 15k, I'll overwhelm for her, make the opponent discard, and then my leader becomes 15k, which gives me value. And then I run 1 Bardock Fighting Against Fate. He's just so good. I mean, he helped me win quite a few matchups. By just having him out there and having the dual attack 25k, it's super impressive.
I'm assuming you're running his best friend, Champo, right there. Yep.
Yeah, that honestly, MVP card of the weekend. There were quite a few matchups where, even with leader, so like they'll think, oh, the leader's only 10k. I can swing with the leader and basically rest my unison to add the power.
Yeah.
And then I drop the Champa. So if I have Dark Broly out there, that's 40k double strike right off the rip with only 1 energy used.
Nice.
And so it was sneaky. Then my SCR, I use the Boo. It's just great for blue matchups where they can steal the unison. Honestly, any matchup you could steal the unison.
Yeah.
In one of the cooler matchups, I stole their what was it? The Piccolo, and it was hard for them to come back from in my first matchup. So definitely has helped value, and it takes away their unison, which is super good, and can shut down their turn as well, because he has another effect where they can't attack with battle cards, almost like
Baby Hatch.
What is the Hatch? Yeah, almost like Hatch, but a little less valuable.
Yeah, but you also steal their unison, and does it do anything else? Does it like wipe the field or something, or?
It doesn't wipe their field, but it basically makes them so that they can't attack the rest of that turn with any battle cards. So
yeah,
shuts down a turn.
And if you're stealing their unison too, that's another attack you're stealing away from them. So they're essentially just locked down to their leader.
Exactly. Yep. And if they swung with leader first, it basically ends their turn for the most part.
Unless they have a second unison to play. But yeah, you're right.
True. Definitely true. And we'll get into the extra cards I run. So Cell Kamehameha, we all know what that does. Make them discard to help hand advantage. Just gives you, especially on my leader, I'll find a lot of people leave it at 20k. I just use 1 energy, rip 1 from their hand, now I'm at 25 and I comboed out.
And the best part about Cell compared to the other hand control stuff is usually the hand control, they get to choose their targets, but Cell usually gets to pick one at random. So sometimes you're really messing up their game plan with it.
I hit a couple Zamasus during a couple games and
nice.
Definitely helped.
For sure.
Dormant, we all know what that does. Super good, shuts down turns when you see it.
Yep.
Your card, especially for me, just pitch a Ribrienne or something I need him to drop.
Yeah.
and then I'm able to stop their turn for the most part.
Cool.
And then Shocking Death Ball, another negate.
Mm-hmm.
Then here's where Homicidal is also another negate. This one's so good because if you're at 5 life,
Mm-hmm.
you can take that extra life to awaken,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're basically awakened, and you can do all of your plays with Videl.
Yep.
And then some of the spicy cards that actually helped me this weekend are Dark Death Ball and Blue Impulse.
Mm-hmm.
So Dark Death Ball, if I have a Unison on board, just basically can shut down a 4-drop or less. They put it in the drop. So I had one of the guys play the Negate Zamasu that was going to really wreck me and put a Toa in my energy.
Okay.
But because I played Dark Death Ball, I was able to just have him put it right in the drop and no effects went off. So I was good on that. And then obviously Blue Impulse for cooler matchups or matchups where they play Topo or anything like that. Once they play a battle card, even an SDR sometimes, I can just clear it from Blue Impulse.
I gotta say, every time I've played against green and then Blue Impulse happens, like I play King Piccolo a lot, and if I am greedy and then they do Blue Impulse, they just wipe my whole board. And then just knowing that Blue Impulse is a card that they can play, even if you only use one copy, and I don't know if you have any more copies, it makes me play around it. So just showing it in your energy even just makes the opponent play very awkwardly. So playing it at 2 is good because you're punishing them enough and then making them fearful about the rest of them.
And with how much I draw, I generally see it when I need it, and I try not to charge it so that way they don't know I have it.
Now, going back to Dark Death Beam, why that one over Focus Breakthrough? I mean, I know Focus Breakthrough hits 3 or lower, and also you have to be at 4 or less life, but is there any other cost to it other than being a 2 cost, or is there any other benefits?
Yeah, so basically, if you're tapped out and you have a Unison on board, you can discard 2 cards, do it. So that's why I did it, over taking the life.
Okay.
Sometimes with Videl, she's hard to, you got to be careful, taking too many life. So for this one, I did it so early on in the early game, if you're going aggressive with the Videl and then the 2-drop, this will allow you to still play it. You just discard 2 cards to do it. So if it's really important to get that off the board or not have that hit the board, you're okay sacrificing the 2 cards because you draw so much.
Yeah, that makes sense because your hand is usually big, and if you have dead cards or unisons, or even if the rebrands, you're allowed to discard them, so you probably have cards you can really ditch.
Yeah, and some of them you can get back. So
okay.
And then the last one I ran was Heart of a Maiden, just because I was running. Yeah, just because I was running 58 cards, she allows me to tap 1 energy, church top 7, play a Unison, or take 2 1-drop skill lists to my hand. So she's just extra added advantage.
Okay. And is there anything that you would have changed at all, or?
Obviously for sideboard, like I would probably have put in Deborah's main board.
Okay.
Going forward, just because there's so many hand destructions, and with Cell Surge, if I put Deborah in here, it's pretty much an auto lose for Cell Surge because I draw so much compared to what they draw. And then other than that, I would say maybe bumping up the Bardock to 2.
Okay.
So I can see him 100% and make sure that I have that ability to run the aggressive side.
All right, cool. One last question. Just real quick, what were your matchups for the day, and what were your wins and losses?
Yeah, so first round I played Cooler. I beat that one.
Was that Cooler Mill or the Yellow Cooler?
Cooler Mill, yeah.
Okay.
Mill Cooler, so red blue. He was tough. I ended up winning that one on a Champa double strike.
Nice.
But I did also steal his Unison, which was helpful.
So I'm guessing in that matchup you probably went aggressive because you didn't want to deck out with drawing so much.
Exactly. Yep. I went super aggressive in the beginning and saw the right cards to use the Videl and the Gohan off the bat. And then my next matchup, I played Zamasu Ramp. So the old school one that basically puts stuff in your energy. That one I also had to go super, super aggressive because I knew that if it got too late, I was going to be running into him putting so much in my energy and just having me take all 4 of my life. So that was helpful. Bardock won me that game as well, along with the Champa double strike.
Of course.
I went in for a game on that one. And then after that, I saw what was it? The Zamasu dual attacker.
Okay.
He ran blue yellow.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I saw pretty much all my Saiyaman unisons in that time frame. So
Mm-hmm.
it was really, really helpful having him and just being able to draw so many cards.
Okay.
And then obviously the aggression towards the late game. I whittled his hand down and I went in on, I want to say it was like a 90 double strike.
Oh wow.
I pulled off 2 to 3 cells on that turn. So it was really, really close. I think it was like 5K over what he had, but it was a close
Nice.
matchup. And then after that, I played yellow Gohan, blue yellow. He had no idea what my deck did, so I think I had super advantage on that because he wasn't sure how to play.
Okay.
And he hit me with the Vegeta unison.
Mm-hmm.
I was really close, but I had the homicidal clone, and I also had the shocking death ball negate in hand.
Okay.
So in the end, I was able to outlast them, and then that final turn, it was over because he didn't have many resources left at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Then in round 5, I saw Red Broly. That was super tough matchup.
Yeah.
Red Broly, I even used my SCR to stop his turn,
Mm-hmm.
but it was really tough. I couldn't get through at that point. There just wasn't enough for me to do
Yeah, you're
against
going
Red Broly.
aggressive. You're going aggressive hand control, but Red Broly probably does that a little bit better, so or a little bit quicker at least. So that must be a tough matchup.
Yeah, that one was really tough. I would say of all the matchups, that was probably the hardest.
Okay.
Um, and then after that, I saw forgetting saw one other matchup. I don't remember exactly what it was. Oh, Xeno Gogeta.
Okay.
Xeno Gogeta was really, really rough, but I was fortunate he didn't see thwarting, and I just basically went in on him and made him discard so many cards that he wasn't able to play the rest of the game.
Nice. All right.
And
Cool.
then last round, which shout out to Seraphim Zhang, I believe is his name.
Okay.
It was a super close game. I had 2 of my 1-drop skillless in my life.
Huh.
It made it very, very tough against Cooler Mill.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get at like turn 3. I stopped drawing, and
Okay.
somehow I still stayed in it. Had him down to 2 cards at the end, but it just was really. I had no ability to win that one when I couldn't draw after turn 3.
So was that a loss right there?
Yeah, so that was my loss. So Red Broly was my loss, and then I did lose to Cooler Mill with blue. He actually got 4th. So had I won, I might have been 4th.
Okay. Well, still, 11th place is not bad at all, especially with a deck that no one has been able to do very well with. So, Jimmy, thank you for stopping by and helping us out with this deck profile. If you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments. Jimmy will definitely check them out and answer any questions you guys have. Until then, stay loco. Have a good one, everybody.